Go back. Hi, everybody. Hi. Well, we made it. Last supper. Good job. Go team, go. So, as tradition states, in the beginning of the Last Supper, Jesus must be given his body and his blood. However, the way in which he's given his body and his blood is optional. This year, you'll find out what happens. Can someone hand me a fry and a ketchup? Can someone hand me first a bite of fry?
Ooh.
And now, are you ready, baby? Another tradition that's been away for a few years, but now that I'm back in town, it's back forever, is, appropriately of course, an old kiss between the old Jesus and Satan. Are you ready? And with that done, begins the serious portion.
Oh
yeah, food for all of you! Yeah! Except not really, only no more. And that's I love him. Wait, no. What are you doing, Jeff? Sorry. You've got 3 more cups. We ought to eat. I want a lot of blood. That's all right. I don't drink
Don't be judgmental. Sorry, I don't like that.
No. All right. Let's get to enjoy the food, enjoy Jesus' body, you carnivores. Cannibals. But let's get to do this on the chair. I always drop my uniform. Eric, you know what it's? His name is Knife Off. But that'll change in a few minutes. All right. Is everyone ready? Here comes a very serious portion of the Last Supper. Many years ago, a camper who was both an amazing man and an amazing everything, actually, left CTY and died a few days after. Sorry, I didn't mean to put that bluntly. He had heart problems, and his name was Phil. And every beer, we always ask him, hey Phil, is there always beer, is there beer in heaven? And at the Last Supper, we read The Conqueror Word, one of his favorite poems. This is dedicated for Phil. We ask that no one clap at the end of this poem, as well as everyone have a moment of silence to remember the great man who sadly could not come back. And forevermore, he is really forever. Conqueror Worm by Edgar Allan Poe. Lo, 'tis a gala night, within the lonesome latter years, an angel throng, bewinged, bedight, in veils and drowned in tears, sit in a theater to see a play of hopes and fears, while the orchestra breathes fitfully the music of the spheres. Minds, in the form of God on high, mutter and mumble low, and hither and thither fly, mere puppets, they who come and go, at bidding of vast formless things that shift the scenery to and fro, flapping from out their condor wings invisible woe. That motley drama, oh be sure, it shall not be forgot, with its phantom chased forevermore by a crowd that sees it not, though a circle that ever returneth in to self same spot, and much of madness, and more of sin, and horror, the soul of the plot. But see amid the mimic root a crawling shape intrude, a blood-red thing that writhes from out the scenic solitude. It writhes with mortal pangs. The mimes become its food, and over each quivering form in human gore imbued. Out are the lights, out all, and over each quivering form the curtain, a funeral pall, comes down with the rush of a storm, while the angels, all pallid and wan, uprising, unveiling, affirm that the play is the tragedy, man, and it's here, the conqueror worm. for you, Phil.
Okay, and now I am going to read a passage from the Bible.
Not the real Bible, let's check it out.
Steve Lang, better Bible.
Hats off.
Hey, this is not your party.
Eric, hats off.
Far out in the uncharted backwaters of the unfashionable end of the western spiral arm of the galaxy lies a small, unregarded yellow sun. Orbiting this at a distance of roughly 98 million miles is an utterly insignificant little blue-green planet whose ape-descended life forms are so amazingly primitive that they still think visual watches are a pretty neat idea. This planet has, or rather had, a problem, which was this. Most of the people living on it were unhappy for pretty much of the time. Many solutions were suggested for this problem, but most of these were largely concerned with the movements of small green pieces of paper, which is odd because on the whole, it wasn't the small green pieces of paper that were unhappy. And so the problem remained. Lots of the people were mean, and most of them were miserable, even the ones with digital watches. Many were increasingly of the opinion that they'd all made a big mistake in coming down from the trees in the first place. And some said that even the trees had been a bad move, and that no one should ever have left the oceans. And then one Thursday, nearly 2,000 years after one man had been nailed to a tree for saying how great it would be to be nice to people for a change, a girl sitting on her own in a small cafe in Ricksmansworth suddenly realized what it was that had been going wrong all this time, and she finally knew how the world could be made a good and happy place. This time, it was right. It would work, and no one would have to get nailed to anything. Sadly, however, before she could get to a phone to tell anyone about it, a terrible, stupid catastrophe occurred, and the idea was lost forever.
That was
That was happy.